Today we're discussing the future of cybersecurity and transforming businesses. Our facilitator is Frank Kovacs, an industry heavyweight with a long history of leading transformations in companies. Hello, Frank.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. I think people are going to be really interested in this discussion today because it's very topical. Theme 22, continuing our discussion on cybersecurity and the IoT by focusing on distributed denial of services. What's interesting is there's so much in the news right now. Talk about what we're going to discuss in today's feature.
Well, every firm is at risk from this because everyone uses the internet for, just basic VPN services all the way through to their e-commerce platforms where they sell their products and services. So we're all susceptible to it in all of our firms. And what we're going to talk about is, that internet connectivity as our lifelink when it's interrupted, the impact on the business.
Great. Some of the stories are going to be so fascinating. I think people are going to love this discussion today. A really great and diverse set of panelists. Let's talk about your panel.
We've had a great set of panelists on this who have contributed frequently and with some great thought leadership. And what they've been able to do is really pull from their personal experiences and share them. And because of that, I think that the information that we've collected related to this topic is not only thought-provoking, but it also runs the gamut of the different areas of denial of service attacks.
So, Frank, in your executive summary, you discuss how attacks impact different businesses differently. And I guess that makes sense, but tell us why that makes sense.
It makes sense because certain companies and even within certain industry verticals are dependent on their internet connectivities in different ways. So let's say the retailing sector, they sell their products and services right through their e-commerce sites. So for them, having not only the connectivity, but very quick response times are something that are, crucial to their bottom line profit. So if you even are able to delay the connectivity for them to their end consumers, you can dramatically impact their bottom line. Also, you can penetrate a firm's security by going through and exercising those vulnerabilities. So you really have to look at every area that has internet connectivity, every device, because those that may not have been well thought out and planned to thwart from being compromised could be the Achilles heel on allowing people access to your network and to your more treasured information that you're trying to keep secure.
Let's get into your key point number one here, because some attacks could be from competitors, and competitors could mean a lot of different things, right?
Yes, competitors can come from just another business in the space. It can also come from foreign governments that are trying to compromise your firm in order to, drive more business to the companies that are within their country and help out their local economy. So the attacks that come in can be anything from just nuisance related all the way through to really bringing a firm to its knees. If we think of a firm like Netflix, where their connectivity to so many millions of customers is absolutely essential to their business model, delaying the ability for those end consumers to connect to their platform could have really disastrous effects. And what we learn is once a company is compromised in that way, it's very easy for them to lose their credibility, and it's very hard to gain the customer, belief in them back.
Now, there are a lot of chicken littleists out there who think we're worrying too much about this, but even today there's big news about Marriott Corporation and a massive security breach they had. So what do you say to these chicken littlers who think we're worrying too much about this and we're fear-mongering?
If we look at the history of denial of service attacks over the last several years, they have been numerous. And also the effects from the breach on the company that was the victim have been substantial. As you had said with Marriott, we're looking today and seeing the immediate impact on the market in a depressed stock market price. So it's going to be critical for Marriott to restore their guest confidence in them as a company that can really safeguard their information and prevent identity theft of their guests.
You know, what's really fascinating about this topic, Frank, as we get into key point number 2, with the connectedness of the IoT, there are so many more back doors that people can use. I'm especially intrigued by the story of this fish tank in a casino. Can you sort of talk about that as you talk about all these other points in key point 2?
Sure. In our panel, one of our panelists had given a great example that he was personally involved in where a casino had a fish tank. And within that, there was a device that was IoT enabled to control the fish tank. It was a sensor. So what someone did was they knew that this sensor didn't have the proper security around it. So what they did is they connected to the sensor. Once they got into the sensor, they were able to navigate their way through the infrastructure of the casino, and they were actually able to get all of the data that contained the information on a high net worth customers of the casino, and then exploit that data. So it's very necessary that we look at all internet-enabled devices. To use an example in your home, most people have their printers, and the printers are wireless, and they want to make it easy for all their family members, so they make it internet-enabled and Wi-Fi enabled. And if they don't have the proper encryption and security around it, that becomes the Achilles heel, even at a household level, for somebody then to get in and compromise all your personal information that's on your laptop and, make you the victim of identity theft. So, we are making devices IoT enabled at a record pace in the country, and it's coming from every side, from household devices to wearables to virtual assistants like Google Home and Alexa. So it's really critical that people look at these devices that they're adding within their technology infrastructure, both in personal life as well as professionally, to make sure that they're done in a highly secure manner.
Frank, this is such a great conversation, fascinating information, great panelists. Let's talk about these 3 that really stood out this time around.
Yeah, both Paulo, Christopher, and Ricardo had contributed significantly to a lot of the key takeaways that we had in this panel. There are consistently 3 individuals that give us great thought leadership. They really get into the themes. They help out with, contributing to the maps, to the media, reading everything thoroughly and then responding. And they share their personal insights that they have, both professionally and personally. And it adds so much to our content and our insight on not only what the issues are, but potential resolutions to them.
In your next theme, Frank, I know we're going to talk a little bit about ransomware. We don't hear much about that. We think of it as being somewhat prehistoric, but even that's changing, and the threat is getting more real, correct?
Yeah, ransomware was very rampant up until about last year. And, everybody was personally trying to safeguard their professional and their personal devices to make sure they didn't become encrypted. And then as a result, the ransomware asks you to pay money to basically unlock and gain access to your own data. And what has happened now, it's morphed and it's become much more sophisticated. And it's the volume of attacks has gone down, but they've become very much more sophisticated. A large subset of them are focused on cryptocurrency. And with that, the paydays are astronomically larger than the individual ransomware attacks were previously. So I think that, unfortunately, the bad folks out there that are, conducting these ransomware are learning to work smarter, not harder, and be more focused on opportunities that will yield them much more substantial personal gain.
Well, I look forward to our next conversation, Frank. A great job facilitating this panel and bringing this very topical, very timely information to us. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you have a great day.
Again, that is Frank Kovacs. He is a 30-year industry heavyweight with a long history of leading transformations in companies. And Frank, we will talk again.
Thank you, Gene.